Alive and alert on the north side of the dirt. It is your man D Real, and I'm not by myself today. I am with the one, the only Greg Burnham. Greg Burnham? Who Greg? Shame on y'all. As much as I talk about this man's stuff, stop it. As much as I talk about this man's stuff on my page, stop it. Stop it. Welcome, Mr. Burnham.
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. I'm real excited about this. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. I want to try to get into more of a series of, talking to artists, kind of getting a every man perspective of an artist. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, so I just want to kick it off by saying, or rather asking, what are your current thoughts right now, just in general? What's your headspace?
As far as like comics
Yeah,
oh
or whatever. This is about you, sir.
I mean, as far like comic wise, I'm just trying to produce. I'm looking forward to stuff that's coming out. Um,
Can you
yeah,
talk about it?
yeah. Well, I can talk about the stuff I can talk about. Uh, so, I recently completed the Kickstarter for the third installment of the Search for Sadaka. So we're working on that. Um, I have a 10-page story that's going to be in DC's upcoming Halloween anthology. It's called the anthology is called Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun, and I have a story called The Spoils that features Superman. So I'm excited about that. And then later in October, I have the Little Rock Files series. The first issue of that's coming out. We did a 6-page story in Noir is the New Black. Yep. And apparently people liked it. So they asked me to do like a full issue. So it'll be like a 48-pager. It's not going to be small. It's going to be pretty solid. So I got that going. Working on my brother. My brother had a story. We did the first issue for that, Solus, the story of Solus, and we're working on the second issue now also. I think that's the stuff I can talk about.
Okay. So an industry related question. And I've always wanted to ask somebody that's you in the industry. You're in demand. You're in the industry. So I consider you in the industry. Okay. Do you think being independent gives way to being a part of a larger company like a Marvel or a DC or something like that? Or do you think individually the goal is for everybody that's trying to get their stuff out there to want to try to become a Marvel or a DC?
So it's weird because I think there's a need for both. Like, we were lucky enough to get on the map doing our own independent stuff and doing it like at a pretty high clip to where, before we did anything with DC or Marvel, we could get into like any comic convention. We could get into the spaces that we want. We got the, studios coming after us, all that stuff. So in that sense, it's good. A lot of times what you're seeing is people doing it the other way. They come in through the big companies, and then they make a name for themselves, and then it's kind of easier to do independent. We did it backwards, but I like the way we did it, and I can't claim like we knew everything we were doing. We just had people that really rock with us and really, enjoy the product that we're putting out. But because I do everything except for draw, independently, it's like when I went to work with, these major guys, it's like I have an understanding of making comics that maybe some people don't all the way understand when you're first getting into it. So long way to say, I think that you should you should definitely have like your own IPs. You should definitely have stuff that you can, hopefully, make serious money off of. Because when you're working working for these big guys, it's basically contract work, right? Like I did the Superman script I did with DC. They were great, they're awesome, but they're paying me my page rate, and then that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so there are like stipulations, like a lot of the bigger companies, they'll have stipulations in the contract where if they sell over a certain amount of copies, then you'll begin to receive royalties. But the only thing that you're definitely going to make off of, doing work for these guys is whatever that contract rate is. So if you're an artist, you're going to get a certain rate. So I laugh because people look at me, they're like, yo, you doing this stuff for DC. I know you getting paid. I'm like, man, no, I got paid one time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Now me as an entrepreneur, I'm going to figure out ways to take that and be able to, make more money off of it, whether it's, selling, the books that I get from them, or, like using it to be able to say, okay, my speaking fee has gone up now, because, truthfully, when you're looking into when we were looking into how much we should be charging to, speak and go to these different places and speak, and it's like, oh, wow, it's supposed to be based off of how many, publications you've done, like how many books you published or whatever. So it's like, oh yeah, my stuff is just gonna keep going up. My appearance fees are gonna go up. So, you figure out other ways to make it work for you. But as far as like cash in hand, no, it doesn't work like that.
Okay. So the days of the Todd McFarlane's and the Rob Liefeld superstar solo artist is kind of waning.
No. It's still there, but you got to get to that point, right? So like right now, I don't count other people's money, but I'm sure if DC brought Scott Snyder in to do a story, they're not gonna pay him the rate that they're paying me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so it'll, it's a building thing. Like you have to keep, building upon, it's like I'm laughing because I'm getting the art and the letters back for the Superman story. And it's like I wrote that. I think I turned that in April. You know what I mean? So it's like I've moved on so many steps to other stories, other stuff. But that's how it works. Like the Little Rock script, I'm working on that today. I mean, I already turned in the original script, but now we're getting the art back, and I really like to make sure the art and the words are matching. So I'm doing like a comprehensive dive on that today, but I wrote that original script in December. So it's like, it's kind of how.
So when you're waiting for those major projects to, after they've looked it over and you're waiting for it to get green lighted. So you say you did that in December. It's August.
Yeah, no, we did it in December. I wrote the script in December. It was, I got the green light from the publisher. All that stuff was good. We had to figure out, because they wanted to do a Kickstarter to be able to have the money up front to pay, for all the art and everything. So we had to figure out the right time to do the Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter didn't go into play. I think it went like in April or something. Or May, whatever it was. The Kickstarter goes in, and then it's like, it was in May. And then, you got to wait to get that money from Kickstarter. So the art started getting created. So we're deep in. We had like, 36 pages. I think we got 12 pages left of art that needs to be done. But it's just, it's a process.
So you pretty much elaborated on what my next question was going to be. You was talking about current projects, and you kind of laid that out real nice. So I want to kind of venture off into the nostalgic. And just like I said, kind of pick your brain, see where you're at or what you do or don't like. So famous comic book moment. What's your favorite comic book? I'm talking about all of comics. Something that happened in comics that was just so like, oh my God, that I can't believe that actually happened to a comic book character, or that happened in a comic book. So thinking of all the millions of events that you've read or witnessed to, or can you even narrow it down to one moment?
It's hard. I mean, I think there's, your iconic moments like Death of Superman. But for me, it's gonna be different. Like the stuff that impacted me is sitting at home one night watching Arsenio Hall when I was probably supposed to be in bed, and Arsenio mentioned Brother Man. And that was I'd never heard of Brother Man at all, and he mentioned it, and it was like, what? Or like my grandma in Kansas City, coming home from work or wherever she was one day, and she had a comic book. I don't know if you remember, it was called Omega Man. And
Yeah,
it was a dude,
we talked about it. We talked about it
yeah.
in the last interview, and I went and looked it up. Yes, I do remember that book. Yeah.
So, like her bringing that to me, and I'm like, so, Black people just out here making comics? That was huge for me. When I found out about Milestone, like those are the things, the epic moments. But as far as like comic book events, I would say Death of Superman. I mean, that shut down the world for a second, right? Honestly, right now I'm wrapped up into this DC Night Terror. I spent in so much money. I got the book, one of them right here.
Okay.
Have you heard of the series? Like it's
I have been to LCS, and I've kind of me. I'm looking for Black Panther and Avengers mainly, and whatever independence I can find. So I kind of but I noticed it's an event going on in DC. And what essentially is Night Terrors about?
So basically, it's the world has, like, the Earth has been put into a slumber, and almost all the heroes who could actually combat this dude are in their dream states. So he's basically like attacking them and looking for something in their dreams. And so they got a bunch of different writers, a bunch of different artists. So it's kind of unique in that sense. They're releasing multiple books. I think it started in July. It's supposed to end. I got so many of the books, but I'm like, I don't know if I got everything. So when they pull out the trade, I'm just gonna, end up buying that big thing too. But yeah,
that's what I did with Convergence.
See, yeah. So, but it's fun. I'm like, it's weird because I don't read comics just for entertainment anymore. Like, it doesn't mean I'm not entertained by them, but it's like I'm looking at how, how you can construct. Like, there's so many talented like writers and artists. It's like so many different ways to construct or like tell your story. So always trying to, like Kobe Bryant. Like this summer, I'm gonna work on my turnaround jumper. Next summer, I'm gonna work on my post game. It's like I'm always looking at it in that sense as well. So, but but I'm like, these are really fun for me.
Okay. All right. This is totally hypothetical. You can say whatever you want to say, because it's that kind of question. If you had $1 billion, you, Greg Burnham, had $1 billion, what would you do with it?
I would disappear.
Are you gonna pull a Dave Chappelle? You know?
No, man, I would there's so much I would do. Like right now, I've built out, I got the 501c for nonprofit, and it's based on like literacy. And so but like teaching, not just teaching literacy, but just getting kids encouraged to read. So we've seen um a lot of positive impact from like teachers and librarians all over the country, in the world even, that have said they use, like, our kids are so into the comics that we make that it makes them care about reading, where before they wouldn't care at all. So that's kind of what I want to do. Get to some of these even. I talked to, I picked my cousin Lewis's brain all the time because he's working in that space, with the juvenile detention centers and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I would love to be able to create programs for the kids that are interested in, whether it's, like high risk areas, or even some of these things to try to get these kids out of these pipelines.
And yeah, and I 100% agree with that, because I did something similar here in Anchorage a couple of years ago. They have like a detention center here for teenagers, and they would allow me and a couple other guys to go in there, and we would, teach them things like poetry, and, just kind of like help them, find their voices, and, where they're at, in certain spaces. And even to this day, man, I see, some of those kids, and they'll walk up on me and they'll just be like, "Oh, I remember you used to come over to the," and now they've got, jobs, and they got families and stuff now, and they're, for at least straighter than they were when I approached them. And so that's kind of how a community should work. I feel like, in my opinion, you're contributing with whatever gift that you have to impact people in a positive way, no matter what that is. Everybody's got something that they can do, so that's, I get that 100%, man. 100.
So I would do that. I probably would create a like a, not like to try to rival DC or anything, but get like the best indie Black comic creators that I know, and try to create like one company where everybody can be compensated. Because the only reason why it's hard for everybody to link up now is because there's not enough money, you know what I'm saying, to have it to where everybody could be compensated what they're truly worth. So if I was able to take like 2 million and build out a company where everybody can get paid, and we could, do stuff like at a higher scale, I would love to do that as well. Because it really could be done. Just to where we have there's a lot of really good indie creators that, we know each other. Sometimes we work with each other and all of that, but it would be great to be able to like build a whole, entity with these guys, and just, everybody utilize their strengths to make it just blow.
And it's funny that you should say that, because there are, doing this, I have come into contact with a lot of other content providers, and we're all nerds, blurs, at our core. And so it's like, okay, they want to get together, and we're doing projects, and some people are writing, and other people are drawing, and it's and we're wanting to put a project together. And so do you feel like, coming together corporately like that is more effective, to getting, your project seen, versus, one or two cats, grinding it out? I do the writing, you do the pencils, and we gonna blow up like that?
So it's the way that it'll increase, because people are doing well right now on their own. But I think the way it will increase is if you're able to get books into stores at like low cost. So that's like selling at a comic shop is not, ideal for me because, with comic shops, the way that works is whatever the price is on the book, they're going to give you like half wholesale. So, if I have a $7 book, I'm only going to make $3.50 off of it if I sell it to the comic shop because they're going to sell it for $7, right? So as long as, if you're printing, like 20,000 books, then that's not going to be a problem. But if you're printing 1,000, that is going to be a problem, right? Because you're not making the same amount off the book. You're not making that percentage, off the books that you really need to be making to keep everything floating. So we do sell out of shops. A lot of people do, but it's not like we ain't just kicking doors down like, please sell our book here, because we make more money selling them on the website, selling them on the road, at conventions, all that kind of stuff. So that's where it changes the game. I think certain people that are doing it well, that are really doing it well, because there's some people that are like, they're making, just, shoddy comics, but they got really good marketing, So you have those people, and then you got people that are making stuff that could be winning awards, but that we don't have that visibility. So
okay. Couple of current event questions. So you have to be careful how you answer. Let's just get the main one out the way. Alabama Sweet Tea Party. Thoughts?
I mean, let me see. As somebody who is taking place in something similar to that, I don't have no problem. I mean, certain things, you got to understand, but I've seen it, like when these big brawls type, stuff starts coming out, people start doing some wild stuff, but like the hitting with the chair, it was just hilarious. And it wasn't like a deadly chair or anything, you know what I'm saying? But you got to kind of watch yourself. Like the lady that pushed the lady into the river, I was like, ooh, that's a no, don't do that. But as far as it, I mean, I always went with it, so I can't be a hypocrite. They decided to. I mean, that's quite similar to a lynching. You know what I'm saying? They decided that they were going to mob up. We saw the guy in New York in the subway choke that man out, and people just stood around. And I promise you, I hate every single person that sat by and watched that happen. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and this is white, black, whoever. I hate you, because there's no way I would have, I'd have been like, yo, that's good. And if he doesn't let go, we're going to make him let go, So that's how
you've been to New York before though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you understand, quote unquote, the New York mentality. Where it's like, they are 100% perfectly fine watching somebody die on the street and then just go get a hot dog or something like that. So I mean, that's
I get it, but I don't get it because I'm not shaped that way. Like if I see somebody, like especially if it's an innocent person or a non-threatening person or even if you're threatening to an extent, there's no need to use deadly force. And so taking it back to Alabama, it's like whatever happened, whatever you think happened, there's no reason. Like it was women, everybody, the whole crew decides, oh, we about to mob on this dude. So to me, all bets are off at that point. Whatever happens to y'all happens, because we've seen it the other way around where we ain't even the aggressor and we still have seen our people get killed. So I was cool with all of it. I'm not mad at anybody. They got Aquaman, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he needs to win an award. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch.
And you are pretty much in the same boat with the majority of people in this country. Because I mean, I'm just like, okay, that's cut and dry. You got it on video. How many times we gotta have stuff on video and got like, this is what happened, and people still like, I don't know. I'm like, what? Right. What else do we gotta do?
Right.
You know? So yeah, I feel the exact same way, man. At one point where like the lady on the ground got hit with the chair, I was like, you know, that that might have been okay. All right, yeah. Time out. Time out.
And that's why I had to put in that statement. It looked like a little plastic folding chair. So it didn't look like, you know, them heavy.
Like it had no weight to it.
Right. So that's why I can laugh at it. Because it wasn't, it was just the timing of it. It's like she fell, she looked up.
Yeah.
But
this is war.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's like so many times we've been, you know, as a country, they say, you know, return the force that was given, you know what I'm saying? But
most police departments say that.
Right, even though they don't do that. But how do you quantify what's the force when it's what 6-7 on 1? You know, so
do what you gotta do.
Right. So now it's gonna be 30 on 6 or whatever.
Hey,
you know?
Hey, so ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Right. And the whole, you know, the whole part of who incited, you know, the violence, that's kind of clear. You know,
very extremely clear. You know, and I just when I saw it the first time I saw that video, I ain't gonna lie. And I did a video on it. I said I was happy, angry, and shocked all at the same time. It's just like, I can't believe this is happening, but not in a way like, I can't believe this is happening, this is terrible. It was like, I can't believe this is happening and ain't no dead black people. You know, it just happened, and we are laughing about it, and I'm just like, okay, we turned a corner today.
But I'm gonna tell you though, man, because like somebody, you know, like when did we move to the South in like 87 or I think so. These things have happened a lot, and you know, like back. That's why I was laughing. I was talking to one of my best friends. I'm like, I'm glad they didn't have a camera on us when it happened, you know. But but I kind of want to, because that's where I was like 16. That's where I got my first knockout, first 2 knockouts actually. So you know, this stuff has been happening. There's this thing, this mentality, and it's something. One of the things I don't like is that people automatically think the South is like, you know, black people down here are like subservient, or, you know, we bow down and stuff like that.
Right.
That's not true in all the places. And like, I live in Atlanta. So if something like that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if I would be surprised if something happened like that here, because you don't see white people getting out of pocket like that here. You know what I'm saying?
Since 1905.
Right. So it's like, but like when I was in Louisiana, we had those, you know, I was in some of those, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
right.
It's like, it ain't no thing, you know, like, so there was like a sense of pride, you know, just for the South, so people could see, you know, because like, I guarantee you, if that guy would have been choking somebody out here somewhere, he'd have got stomped out, you know? Because, and it's not a North versus South type of thing. I just know here, you know, you'll get stomped out. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and let you choke no black man out in front of me. I don't care. If you're a cop, it's gonna be hard, but I still probably would just have to get beat up or something.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, it just, to me, I feel like without going too historical or geopolitical, a lot of stuff has been allowed. So this sense of comfort a lot of people feel is ingrained, and they don't understand. It's like pressure bust steel pipes. And I can tell you the one event that made me go, okay, I'm thinking different now, really thinking different now, was the Rodney King beat. And you would think, and it's like I alluded to earlier, it's on tape. you see them doing it. Now, it's one thing for like, okay, the guy who was hitting the hardest, or the guy who put the taser in Rodney King, get something done to him, but nobody at all, and you got him on film. I'm like, how's he a danger hogtied? How are you scared with that man literally bound and gagged and getting electricity put in him? How is he a problem, and how is not anybody responsible for that? He had to get in that position some kind of way. So it's like, at that point, I'm like, okay, now I'm from Kansas City, and I'd have had some situations where I was on the plaza, and some things were said to some people, and those people, effed around and found out, and rather than them deal with the situation, they said, everybody on the plaza right now who got this color skin got to leave. No, no reason behind, just y'all gotta leave. I had a friend, he didn't have no ID on him, so they took him to jail because he didn't have no ID on him.
Yeah, that's when you're so, like all the good stuff I said about Black people in the South, the policing in the South has been terrible. Even though the first time I got hemmed up, I was 8 years old, and that was in Missouri. But that was a, military cop thing, and those guys, we could do an episode on them. But I've had, like, the first time somebody pulled a gun and put a gun to my head, it was a cop. I had nothing to do with what happened. But even in that situation, we had like an outdoor, like a Whataburger restaurant, and it's where everybody would go on this little strip and hang out after the clubs were over.
Right.
And there's a dude, he had like a long 6'4", was super duper clean. The police tried to pull into the parking lot really quickly, and they hit his car. Oh. And he was parked fine. They just hit his car. And so he got mad. Next thing you know, he's on the ground and they beating him up. And so somebody that I knew, it's probably 200 people out here. Somebody that I knew, we were at the gas station right next to it. Somebody that I knew threw a bottle at the cops, like a 40-ounce bottle, and it shattered. And then the cops just dispersed like this, looking for whoever did it. So I was coming out the gas station because I had just, paid for gas. I look up, it's a cop with a gun right here in my face. And he's like, get on the ground. And I'm like, probably 19 and understanding my rights and everything. I'm like, my hands are in the air. I'm not getting on the ground. Like, in my mind at the time, I'm like, if you shoot me, you're going to shoot me standing up. You're not going to shoot me. Like, I'm not going to bow down to you. I ain't do anything. And so he's like yelling at me, and he's just holding the gun. And like a cab driver, was like, man, you saw that kid just walk out the store. What are you doing? And even the guy that was, working the register came out. It's like, he was in here. What are you doing? And he put the gun down, and he didn't apologize. He didn't do anything. He just walked away. Mind you, I look over at my friend who was pumping the gas at the time, his ass on the ground like this. You know what I'm saying? Just dirtying up his club. But he's on the ground, and that was the first time, but I've been arrested for something I haven't done. I've been detained for something I haven't done. I've been I never understood that thing. Remember they used to make you put your hands on the hood?
Yeah.
that, but they've been driving. They don't hardly ever turn their car off. So when you're putting your hands on the hood or they pushing your face on the hood, that thing is burning, you know? So I've been through everything. So not everything because I'm still alive. But yeah, man, I don't put anything past cops. So when I seen the Rodney King thing, honest to God, I went to school that next day with thoughts. I stayed up all night and watched that. And I went to school like the first person. And the first person that said anything, I was at them and almost got the school shut down. Like it's, so like I said, we've been with it. I was proud.
Okay, and that's
He's saying too much here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. My thing about that, and just I'm a hit it and quit it, is we are not our grandparents. And I don't say that in no disrespectful way. I say that simply to say it's a different era. It's a whole different era, and we ain't gonna, the days of us cowering and us being afraid, that's just gone.
And even that, because I not to you directly, but I always take offense a little bit when people say that, because our grandparents was fighting in our,
and that's why I say I don't mean it in no disrespectful.
Right. But I know you have a better understanding when I hear like the young people say that. Like my grandmother was doing sit-ins, you know what I'm saying? Like our people have been fighting.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's why you have the right to be able to say what you are and aren't gonna do because of your grandparents.
But yeah, and when you think about like I had that attitude, and his brother told me he was like NOI. he was
okay.
He was actually a FOI.
Okay.
And he broke down one day. I think I was like 18. I was hard headed, man. I was like ready to go to war. Like, and he was like, who are the two people you love more than anybody in the world? He already knew who they were. It's my mother and my brother. And he was like, so imagine, because I was talking bad about our ancestors, like we shouldn't have allowed this, allowed that. And he was like, so imagine if you're on a plantation with your mom and your brother, and you're the only person that has a chance at protecting them. You're going to be wilding out, get yourself killed, get yourself hung, get yourself sold. Or are you going to try to go along so you can take care of the people you love? And that's like a really strong concept that I've always done. It's like when my kids were little, if I was walking with my kids and I seen some stuff going down, I can't jump into it because I got these babies, Yeah. So I get it. I just I like I said, I understand where you're coming from with it. But when these kids is out here, kids that won't stand for nothing, talking about stop. You just fighting right now. You just hit somebody because you got a chance to hit somebody. Right?
That part.
It's a difference.
Okay. Lastly, before we get done, I want to kind of shift gears to hip hop. Okay. Just had 50th anniversary of hip hop, which is also my wife's birthday. So yeah, perfect. I'll never ever forget it. So I don't want to say who's your top 5 because I've done a whole segment on this, and everybody's top 5 is never ever going to be the same. That's why I don't argue and debate with anybody about their top 5, because everybody's top 5 is different. You might have people who have a top 5 that's similar. You might have people that, you know what I'm saying? But, I learned a lot. I met somebody who had Master Ace in their top 5. So that being said, who is your top 5?
So this is like, we got to go off of like, what's my favorite 5, or who I think is the top 5? Because
See what I mean? That isn't okay. Let's go with who you feel if you couldn't, the island scenario, five 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 MCs you want to take on an island with you. That's all you're gonna be able to listen to. Who's that five?
So if it, I like this one because it's a little bit different. So island wise, so I gotta do A Tribe Called Quest, even though that's a group. But that's my favorite thing that ever happened in hip hop. So I would do. See, my island five is different than my top. Okay,
so, okay, we got time. We got time. We can do both. Right. Island five. Okay, let's say Island five is a particular album or CD.
Ooh, now that's even harder. Because most of my guys have multiple. So Tribe, I would need Common. I would need Most Def. I would need Lupe Fiasco. And then who's gonna be my last one? I gotta throw my God, and my Big Daddy Kane is gonna be my five.
Okay. Just from your five, I'd say you like lyricists.
Yeah. But also good music too, like, is important to me. Like, I did I'll never forget, when we were doing our website, we had this website called Stay Battling. We were doing a lot of stuff with like the real elements of hip hop and everything. I got to interview Stickman from Dead Prez. This had to be like 2004 maybe. And I asked him, I was like, how does it feel to have like a real classic hip hop song? Because I was talking about bigger than hip hop, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he was like, classic. He said, I don't even understand that because it's hard for me to process something I made being a classic. My classics are Stevie Wonder. My classics are Marvin Gaye, you know, and he went down this line, and I, you know, it's like there's certain things that happen where it's like, you know, that little bit can shift, you know what I'm saying? Because I think we had got to a point with hip hop where for me, it was like lyrics, you know, it's got to be lyrics. Like, if you can't rap, then I don't care. But it's like I started ignoring when people were making like decent songs, you know what I'm saying? And good, impactful songs. I heard somebody was on Instagram Live last night, and I was just flipping through, and I stopped for a minute. They were playing songs, and they played Back That Thing Up, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's a, you know, of course we know that's a classic song, right? But then they played a couple of other Cash Money songs that I wasn't feeling back then because, you know, lyrics was like, eh. But I'm listening to the music, I'm like, we need to give Manny Fresh some type of award because he was making like beautiful, you know what I'm saying? That music, some of that stuff sounds like absolutely beautiful. It encompasses the New Orleans sound, but it was bigger than, you know, I was living in Louisiana at the time, so it was bigger than any, like, sound wise, it was bigger than anything that had been coming out before that. You know what I'm saying? The horns, like bells, he was just really in his bag. And so it's like, I think there's got to be space for that. Like, we were arguing the other day about who was it? Cameron versus Jadakiss. Hold on now, because it's not a who's a better rapper thing.
Okay.
It's just like overall who's a better artist. Okay. And when you look at it, like Jada will destroy him in any type of lyrical thing. I'm not even a fan of Dipset and all of that, but they were making good songs. You know what I'm saying? Like songs that was becoming anthems for people and stuff.
They had the formula.
Yeah, they had the formula to make good music. So it's like when you say who's the better artist, it's like, I don't like, it depends on what you're looking for. If you go to a club and they put on "Oh Boy," you know what I'm saying? What's that got to do with anything that Jadakiss had? You know, I mean, they're so, you know, I'm into music, like, you know, the musicality. Like that's why a Tribe is the best for me, because from the very first time I was sitting on my couch and they popped up on Yo MTV Raps, Left My Wallet in El Segundo, and I was like, what the hell is this? Why do they dress the way I wish I could be dressing? But I'm worried about society saying, hey man, you ain't supposed to be a hippie. You ain't supposed to be this. You ain't, you know, it's like everything just clicked. And I was like, I found my tribe.
And see, I felt that. I felt that way about De La.
Yeah.
When I first saw Potholes in My Lawn, and I was like, okay, they different, you know, they ain't coming with that, you know, the rah. And okay. So you don't have to wear a sweatsuit and you don't have to have a Kangol on to be in the hip hop. Okay. All right. I like that, you know. And so I was always into them different kind of eclectic, you know, like them and the Far Side, and I was always felt, you know, and hieroglyphics and dialectic peoples, and you know, I was always, you know, I always wanted to hear somebody who wasn't doing, because to me, gangster rap had its place, but gangster rap became the new commercial thing. And so it was packaged and if it wasn't E40, you know, because to me, he was the only one out of that set that was coming in a way. And I was just like,
being like,
okay, he's different than the rest of those guys. He doesn't sound like them. He doesn't say the same things that they say. I like that guy. You know what I'm saying? So
I was like that with Ice Cube, you know. So contrary to popular belief, when NWA came out, there wasn't, you know, of course there was a lot of people like, ooh, and you know, stay away from them, blah blah blah. But I was learning, man. I learned so much about how to handle myself in the streets, not fight wise or, you know,
how
shooting or none of that, but just how to move by listening to Ice Cube.
Yeah,
like Ice Cube was like a professor for me, you know.
He does. That is what he said he was. He had the playbook.
Yeah, like that first, his first, you know, solo 3-4 albums, and even the stuff he was doing on NWA, it's like that stuff was like learning. I never looked at it like, yo, I want to do this. I was like, I need to learn this. I need to understand this because this is the environment I live in.
I tell everybody to this very day, okay, as far as an album, a complete work of an album, I still say American Most Wanted is his best. Oh no, what about this? I still say American Most Wanted. I still, because
America's Most Wanted had me in a chokehold,
bruh.
Like, I mean,
and of all of his songs on an album, I know more songs by heart in my head off of American Most Wanted than any other album Ice Cube got. I'm just like, dude, that was dope.
I can smell when
I did a video. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did a video, I think like about a month ago, and we were talking about that Drink Champs situation where Tony Yayo and God, who was it? They were talking, and he asked him who his favorite MC was, and he said Ice Cube. And dude was like, you know, because his favorite MC was somebody on the East Coast, like you would expect it to be, Biggie. Okay, but it's like, okay, we talk about storytelling and blah blah blah, and I sat down and I thought about it. And I'm like, see, Tony Yayo hadn't listened to America Most Wanted, because once upon a time in the projects, who's the Mac?
Who's the Mac? My God.
Like, he was telling stories. I'm like, you just listen. He was telling stories.
But that, I mean, there's always, so it always comes down like another, you know, one of the things is like Tupac versus Biggie. And Biggie is infinitely the better lyricist. You know what I'm saying? He's better with words.
Right.
But I like at today, and I was probably when all the stuff was going down, I probably was leaning more towards Biggie because it's lyricism. And I was mad at Pac because I was a fan of Pac like from the jump, from Tupacalypse Now, when other people was like, what the hell are you listening to? I was buying and rocking his stuff. And I didn't like All Eyes on Me. Not because there weren't some great songs on there, because there were some great songs on there. But there was a whole bunch of junk on that album too that like just ruined it. And
speak on it.
I still think Me Against the World is his best album. And we were watching progression every album. You know what I'm saying? And then Me Against the World happened, and then there wasn't any progression on All Eyes on Me. It was like, and I mean, I understand he was living a complicated life. You know what I'm saying? Bad things that happened to him.
Jail.
Yeah. But not just that, like, people that you thought were supposed to be your people are the ones setting you up to get shot. Not Biggie, but like these dudes showing like this blatant disregard for you after you looked out for them. He had a lot of stuff happening and going on. But I just still feel like he came out and maybe he was trying to get these albums out the way so he could get away from Suge. I don't know. And then we were also in the double album period. If that's a single album and you cut off all the fat, you have an immaculate, 12, 13 song album.
Yeah.
But some of that stuff on there, I was just mad about.
I've been shouting that all over social media for the past couple of days. Me Against the World is the most complete Tupac album out of his whole catalog.
Art.
I'll fight you on it. I'll fight you on it. Fact. Yeah. I mean, it had a little bit of everything. It had the thug, it had the revolutionary, it had the contemporary artist. It was just, all of that was just, he was complete.
It had F the World, which is possibly my favorite Tupac song. I mean, it spoke to me so much, like when that song came out, because he's addressing like real stuff. But yeah, and my main point was going to be is that I find myself today and over the last 20 years listening to way more Tupac music than listening to Biggie music.
Because there's more.
But it's not just that. It's also because I'm out of that phase of I just want to hear how good you can say words, and I like to have music that makes me feel, and pop makes you feel. Where Biggie, like the beats, the nostalgia, Everyday Struggle is still one of my favorite songs. Like
I like the word. I like the wordplay on If I Die Tonight.
Yeah.
It displays his lyrical prowess a little better. In that.
But I think that so I equate it. Now I'm not trying to compare myself to Tupac at all, but I have been, I've had people tell me that my style of writing, comic book style, is like it's really organic, easy to read, like it flows really well. And it's like, I'm doing that on purpose. Like back in the day, I wanted to show you how good of a writer I am. Now I'm trying to make good music, with comic books.
Right.
So I've heard, situations where you could hear Tupac, like where he was more lyrical. So I'm not saying he couldn't have been. I'm just saying, like, the samples that we have, Tupac was making his music easier to read, to hear, to listen. So, so it's soaking into more people. Not anything different than what 50 Cent did. If you listen to him before he got with Dre, he was rapping one way. You listen to him in the club, he's kind of rapping like Tupac.
Yeah.
Like close your eyes and imagine Tupac saying what he was saying on there. He's doing the same thing. So that's the flow. I can talk forever, man. So tell me to shut up. But what did Jay-Z say? Like when he, I guess he had been talking with Questlove a lot and he was telling him, Black Dot needs to slow down a little because he's saying so much stuff. This is probably like in the around 2002, 2003. He's saying so much stuff with it, in these bars, in these verses that it's like hard to keep, like to mentally, especially if you're not used to it.
And,
For me,
but he been like that though.
Yeah, but think about it. He started slowing up a little bit more, like on the tipping point.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite stuff is Everybody Is a Star, where he rips like that song to pieces, but he's got like a slower flow. It's just like let people be able to process all this dope shit you're saying. So
his solo joint is fire.
No, he's never not been. He's a dude that made me want to rap. Like more so than anybody, because, and he's not my favorite rapper. He's one of them, but he's the one that was like, oh, I want to do this, because like he was the guy that just came out and was just spitting. He wasn't worried about what it looked like, what he looked like. He was just rapping, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, he and still is to this
amazing
day.
Amazing.
Do you know we have done this for an entire hour?
Word? Oh, you talking about stuff that I care about.
Yeah.
So,
what did you think I was going to talk about a bunch of stuff you didn't care about?
No, I'm just saying it makes the time go super fast.
That is my style. That is my stilo. That is my flow, sir. I'm not going to bring you on no bum ass interview and have you sitting around yawning, because I wouldn't want anybody to talk to me about anything I didn't know something about or something I didn't like. It's like, oh, so D-Real, how do you feel about Madeline's? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care anything about Madeline's. We had no conversation. So I'm trying to keep it in your wheelhouse, because I know you like some of the same things that I like, and you know what I'm saying? And it's a Kansas City thing, sort of. So, Greg, all day, every day. If I go over here to the wall, I can pull off my Chiefs chain. I got my hey, ride or die, Kansas City, all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get mad at me, but you know what I always say? You want to be the best, you gotta beat the best. and right now, at this point in time, that's us. So Patrick Mahomes. Do we got one ring? Do we got two rings?
Man, that dude is.
He got two rings, don't he? And they are currently defending, right? So say what you want to say, but if you don't come take the title, you can't say nothing.
Yeah, that dude is amazing, man. Like maybe
he's on our side.
Yeah, maybe one day people will actually understand it, like understand how amazing. But he's amazing.
Bruh, have you seen that show Quarterback on Netflix?
No, I didn't watch it yet.
You get a chance, check that out. I kind of got a better understanding now because they show you his training regimen. And I'm like, is that what he does? Well, no wonder he's throwing the ball and running roughshod over everybody. He's got a training regimen out of this world, man. I'm like, really? He doing stuff that quarterbacks wasn't even thinking about doing. Like, oh, that would probably help me, just with his range of motion. And I'm just like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
he's on our side.
Man, he's got like his dad with the baseball background. So I coached youth sports for a long time out here, and I tell kids how we used to play everything, and it used to help, like certain footwork that I had from playing baseball helped me on the basketball court. Certain leverage techniques that you learn playing football help you in basketball, vice versa. So it's like, and Pat was that. He played football, basketball, baseball, so it's like you have just a different understanding of like a different spatial awareness. It's really beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that he's a Chief, because some tough times.
Bruh, 50 years. and I was around for at least 30 of them. So I'm like,
but it's like,
can we get in the playoffs and get past the first round? You know, so yeah, man, he was instrumental in getting us over that hump. So yeah. Y'all pay that man long as he continue to perform. Here, y'all. This has been this guy. Whoops, wrong way. That guy, Greg Burnham. And we have sat here and chopped it up in what I thought was going to be a great interview, and it turns out to be a fantastic one. So I am thrilled to pieces about it. Do you got anything you want to tell them before we break out?
Just support, man. If you like children's books, you care about children, you can go to platforml7.com. I got a new children's book that I just released recently, Swim Kelly Swim. People seem to love it. I also got a couple of other children's books,
and we got the broken glass on there.
Yeah,
that's and me then, all day.
And then if you like, comic books, the Little Rock Files, you can order that from your local comic shop, like pre-order. Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun, you can pre-order as well. And just stay tuned because I'm gonna have more stuff coming.
This has been Greg Burnham. I've been D-Real, and I will be coming at y'all with another one of them other ones. And until I do, y'all be good to each other.